Definitely starting with security, and we have joining us in our Lagos studio first, Mr. Dixon Osaje, security consultant. We'll also be speaking with Pastor Ezekiel Dachama, Reverend Dachama, who joins us virtually on the program this morning. Good morning, Reverend, and good morning, Mr. Osaje.
Good morning, Kayode.
Good morning.
Right, I'll just begin with you, Reverend, and get a sense of what the situation is now. You've been a man who's been championing the call for increased security. You've been championing the plight of Christians, particularly in your state and region. If you maybe have done some sort of retrospection, analysis of the cases, the abductions, the attacks over the past few weeks, Reverend, would you say it's getting better or worse, from where you sit, that is? Right, looks like the connection has gotten worse, but we'll return to Reverend Dachama. He's quite popular now with championing.
All
right, please go ahead, we can hear you now.
I can say it's getting better, because for the past 2 weeks we have never had whether in any village somebody was killed. And this is where we are all advocating for, to live in peace with both the Muslim and the Christian. And this is what we have for these past 2 weeks. In fact, even destruction of crops. We have not come across a news of uncles anywhere. The Fulani are calm. The Senate sent their committee on security to come for findings in Plateau State. And I happened to be there because all my aim, my target is for us to have peace for years. And it has reached a stage that I have to kneel down before my fellow Fulani Hardos, Miyeti Allah, and beg them, because they are the one to give us peace. And that is undiluted truth. We have always given them the truth, the peace that they needed. We have given them for years, and they know. I beg them on my knees, please. You know our side, we have been supplying peace to you. But on your side, you are supplying crisis to us. Why? What is the reason? And they have to raise me up by officials. I say thank you, because my primary goal is to see that the country is living in peace, nothing but peace. And that's the situation that we are inside now. We have been crying for years. For years. Nobody listened to us. Even when the issue of Gemburuk, formerly known Dogonawa, they changed the name. They came with an agenda. The Islamic movement came with an agenda. They would change the name of the original place and place their own name. Our forefathers were illiterate, were full of love, thinking that let's live together, not knowing that these people have a target for land grabbing. They have a target to invent and take over the state, to take over the Middle Belt. That is the target. Our forefathers didn't know until late 2000, these things started manifesting themselves. Burning villages, striking villages. Before they come to your village, they would look for a way that they will present the matter as since is reprisal. We didn't know. They will destroy your crops. That is the beginning. We have been living together. We gave them farms, irrigation farms to do in love. We assist them in working on their farm, and they make their money. They go back to their village, to their areas in the far north. Then when it is a dry season, they will resurface and come. We welcome them. But what then? This is what happened at the end of the day. Planning. When we say stop it, they will be angry. They will say we're interfering in their right of living. And we don't know that there was a great agenda that was moving on to take over our village, because they look at us in a dialect that we are Arnas. Even you are a Christian, you are Kafri, you are Arna. And this word has been moving. We bear it, we take it. We still show them love, but they didn't understand. You can see, because of the issue of farm issue,
right?
When they will follow you to your farm and they will kill us, we will bear with it until it reaches a stage which say, no, this thing is getting too much. Since you are not ready to stay with us, please go back. Go to your state. Leave your place, because you are coming here, you are turning your character into aggressive, into claiming of life, into claiming of land, in which, let me tell you, over 161 villages, community were displaced. In Plateau State alone.
Well, Reverend,
today they cannot go back to that village. And the neighboring village that they are living on, you will see they have been living their dwelling place where our forefather gave it to them. But they will organize themselves and invite their fellow brothers from the far north to come and assist them in doing jihad on the Christian. And there are areas, there's a place even in Manga, that place, that place they were evil themselves. They turned our church building into mosques in Manga area. That is the place when they attacked our people. Senator Young Danton was killed at the burial ground, which the boss people alive. They kill whom they can kill. They slaughtered who they can slaughter. We went for mass barriers, not knowing that they used the mass barrier to bring an attack.
Reverend, this is, really sad. I've listened to you time and again, and every time I hear you speak, the pain is always fresh, the way you narrate it. I want to just, for the benefit of those who may not understand the language, what does Arna mean, just before I come to Mr. Osaje here in our studio?
Unbelievable.
Okay, we'll try to fix the connection, but let me come to Mr. Osaje. You speak the languages, or you have an understanding. Listening to Reverend Dama, I'm sure you've listened to him time and again. He said first, for the past 2 weeks, there have been no attacks in this region, but he's also chronicled how this has developed into what it is today. He says they seem to be out of the woods for now, but we know that North Central is not entirely out of the woods. Kwara, Kogi, and now Northwest states, Kano, Sokoto. From what he has said, can you see the pattern of these attacks?
Of course, yes. And first of all, I want to use this medium to really appreciate the Reverend for really coming out to speak and speak the bitter truths, because it marvels me when people comes on air and say there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. That's a big fat lie. Sometimes we fail to understand that human lives matters. If it doesn't touch home, you will not want to deny the fact that we have experienced Christian genocide in Nigeria. I agree with some Muslims are also being killed, but I tell you that the Christian has been so patient in this country, and I'm happy about that, because we believe in peace, and also we don't believe in attack me, I attack you, because if it has to be so, Nigeria would have been history. But what we need now is that we need a reconciliation. And this talk, genocide talk, must not die. This is the time to keep on talking about it, so that the Supreme Muslim Council, the Christian Association of Nigeria will all come together and say, hey, enough is enough. He made mention of Arne. Arne means unbeliever. You understand? That's what it meant by Arne. And we need to start watching or listening to our preachers, what they preach about Nigerians. If I'm in a church and you're telling me negatively about the Muslims, that should be checked. If you are in the mosque and you're talking negative about the Christian, that should also be checked, because we are all human beings. We are Nigerians. We are living beings. Because if we keep on preaching hatred, the government needs to start looking at the church and also start looking at the mosque. That is the preachers and the preachers and also the imams. We need to start looking at them very carefully, because most of those statements, sometimes are very insightful. When you call somebody an unbeliever, when you see him, what do you do to him? So we need to address a lot of things in this country, Kayode, and that is why I'm very happy that this talk must not die. This is the time for us to start speaking. And I'm happy for the tweet of Donald Trump. If he had not tweeted, we've not seen all this action happening. Nigerians have been crying. I've been on this studio more than 120 times since 2008. Are you with me? And we've been talking about insecurity, talking about what has been happening in Nigeria, and it seems as if nobody's listening. But it took a tweet from the President of the United States to bring everybody into action. If it's going to take more tweets from international community to make Nigeria great again, we welcome that, because we cannot continue to live like this. But so far so good. I'm impressed with the actions from the presidency, and this action speaks louder than voice, and we've seen most of the commands and also some of the security design. But I tell you that we have a long way to go in this area of fight. Like now, if you look at the belt from Kogi, from Kebbi, Kogi, down to Kwara, it has a corridor, and this corridor is where most of this criminal, passes through to go and commit these criminal activities. Let's not give them time to sleep. The problem is that we allow them to sleep. When you allow criminals to sleep, they plan, they regroup, and they attack. So let's not give them time to regroup and also plan. The president last week made mention of recruiting more men. That will not solve the problem, Kayode. If you say you want to keep on recruiting more men, these guys, they still have the ability to kill the officers and men. So for me, I've said it to many fora that for you to have an effective security strategy, don't just depend on the personnel. We just what we call force protection. Give them force protection so that they don't get killed like chickens. You can't have a soldier train so hard and die cheap. Now, the president did not even make mention of technology, effective technology, because three measures are present when it comes to security management: the human factor, the technological factor, and the processes. Kayode, a battalion of soldiers in this country with an appropriate technology can defeat all the terrorist groups in this country. What we need effective drones that they can use and go to these enemies then and wipe them out. It's not about personnel. Because I can tell you, 5 soldiers can be in a base. Like we are here now, we can monitor what is happening in Sambisa. And all you just need to do, ascertain the ISR, the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance information from the drone. Then what you need to do, then you send in any deliverable you need to send there to go and wipe out these guys. So it's not about personnel. I tell you, we have the personnel, but we need more personnel, as the case may be. But let's look at having a lot of drones. And I would advise the presidency and the chief of defense staff to establish drone battalions. We don't have drone battalions. Now, the Ukraine, they have drone battalions, and that's why they're still holding strong in their defensive line. So let's establish drone battalions so we'll be able to mitigate the loss of the lives of our officers and men, because it's so painful. You have our soldiers being killed as if they're animals by this unnecessary human being who are not even well trained as our soldiers. I can tell you that the making of a soldier is very tough. You cannot just see how I saw the videos of most of these guys on TikTok, and I would look at them and say, these are the guys killing our officers, these are the guys killing our soldiers. That tells you that there's an operational error within the army, there's a tactical error within the army, and those errors need to be addressed. And one more thing, Kayode, you see, sometimes these guys, maybe next time we're going to talk about the organogram of this terrorist group. They are very, very well structured. Right from their command, come to their intelligence network. There is no single strike these guys carry out without deploying intelligence. Before they go on any strike, they have men on ground who check if the security personnel are present, who will check what is happening within that environment, and they will communicate. The coast is clear, come and clear it. That is what we call counter-surveillance. So we need to start having an effective counter-surveillance team that will counter the surveillance of these guys. That's what we call hostile surveillance. So we need a lot of things to do. The army to establish drum battalions so that we'll be able to, fight these guys and bring them to book. The Nigerian army has the capability, I tell you, they have the capability, but they need to work on their operational strategy. Don't leave a soldier for so long in the battlefield. This error, they keep on making this error. You leave a soldier for 4 years in the battlefield. My younger brother spent 4 years in the Northeast. He was shot in 2014. He went back after recovery and he spent an additional 3 years. 4 years. How will you leave a soldier in the battlefield for 4 years? That is a tactical, that's an operational error. In fact, it's an intentional operational error. No commander should do that, because when attacks come from this enemy, from these terrorists, what the army do is that they begin to run away. They begin to withdraw. Why? Because if you don't know when you are going back home to reunite with your wife and children, I tell you, your fighting spirit will depreciate, because every battle begins from the mind. So every soldier must know when they are going to the battlefield, and they must know when they are coming back home. That is going to motivate them and give them more morale to fight this enemy of the state and wipe them out.
Well, so much to unpack from some of the things that you have said. You talked about being happy with the measures, and you've also, pointed out some of the other things that need to be done. I would like to follow up on some things, but let's bring in Reverend Dama again. Reverend Dama, you've been speaking in other fora where you've, queried some of the comments of the peace envoy sent to Plateau State to interact with communities and leaders, yourself, inclusive, where you queried, her response in other fora where she tagged some of the killings as reprisals. And we've had the Muslim community represented in the conversation right here on this platform a fortnight ago, where they doubled down on the nature of some of the killings in Plateau State, to be precise, as being reprisal. In fact, I recall Mr. Salis said that there are some communities in Plateau that you cannot go to, even as a Muslim, that your life would be in danger. And, they also accuse the media of not reporting some incidents that trigger some of these killings. So I'd like you to respond to that part of the perception about the nature of the killings in Plateau State as being reprisal, because it's coming not just from the peace envoy alone, but from other members of the Plateau community, this time from the Muslim community in Plateau State.
What do you expect somebody that wants to take your land and take your village, your community? What do you expect him to do? He has a strategy to create a way that he will deceive the whole world, like the Hamas were doing. Sometimes they will tell a child to pretend as if he has been shot. They will decorate him with something like blood and show the whole world. Al Jazeera will carry it that Israel yes, Israel have been killing. We can't deny that. But the propaganda that took place is they thought we are doing the same thing. And this is what is happening here. When they want to take your village, they will strategize to see how they will invoke you to make a mistake. They will provoke you to rape your woman. And nobody knows. They will destroy your crops that you have suffered. Put cows inside. When you come out, you attack in anger a cow. Then they will say they are coming for reprisal. But they will never talk about the destruction that they have done in the village. 151, what have they done? What reprisal is taking place in Adamawa, in Taraba? Is that reprisals? So if the federal government will approve and justify there is reprisal, then we have many ways of reprisal too. When you destroy my crops, have chemicals, we do not that we don't have it. We put it on our farm to avoid crisis. When their cows comes, they eat, they die. Don't let them not blame us. It's reprisal. See, Nigerian government approve reprisal. That is, then we accept it. We can do it. Not that we don't know how to destroy, to weaken them. But they have been wicked up, destroying farm crops. Even the one you brought home, they will follow and burn it down. Economically, they subject us to become slaves. And they are still building that is reprisal. Okay. I have asked the whole youth to stand for self-defense. Since this is the language that they are presenting to the whole nation that is reprisal, what have the people of... I gave this to one minister. I gave her for the reason of the genocide that they did in Gemburu. And I heard her, she was saying that she was justifying, even proud. She doesn't know she was carrying the blood, the names, the skeletons of those that are now in the grave on her hand. And she's talking to them. She doesn't know that they kill you, they nail you, they shed your blood, 501 people. It was reprisal. And she was justifying it. That woman on special senior advisor to the president, I don't blame her. It is an agenda given to her by Islamic agenda. She's speaking the mind. She was not ready, but the blood of the people whom she was saying they were killed because of reprisal. Did she know the damage the cost to Gemburu? Killing our women before the incidents of the village were tired. They didn't see peace with those that are harboring criminals in the house, targeting the Christians, humiliating them. And because of that, they become angry. They didn't say they killed them. They said move out of the village. They went and organized to come down and humiliate everybody in the village so that they will grab the land. That place they were brought from Kano as a team miners. And they enjoy the place. And they want to take over the place. Okay, the federal government should do what she can do. She should never arrest anybody that kill a cow through chemicals, because we will start keeping, because we want to avoid any problem. We will start putting chemicals on our lands. And if their cows die, we are ready for self-defense. It's not like before. Let me tell you, withdraw soldiers, you will see peace. Withdraw the Nigerian army, you will see peace. Especially the security have been polluted with the absorption of the repented Boko Haram assisting, and they are the ones that are giving informer. They are still with their brothers in the bush. Let me tell you, the Nigerian government hands is tight. Tinubu is saying he's going to recruit 20,000. What will be the number? If Christians are up to 2,000 in that 20,000, then we'll say they have tried. Is to absorb Muslims from all over, including visitors that came from Niger. They get them indigenous, and as citizens of Nigeria, they will be there.
All right, Reverend.
Why are they there?
If I may come in here, Reverend, apology, we're totally out of time. I can see the passion exuding from you. We had to bring you because we've had Islamic representation here. Sheikh Gumi was with us, I think, last week on his position.
Yeah. Hey, the biggest liar. The biggest destroyer, the one that collects money from federal government to compensate his people in the bush, is another way he has made the federal government to become an ATM. The one that lies that we have bought it.
All right, Reverend. Well, Sheikh is not here to respond to the allegations. I was just reiterating the fact that... sorry, Reverend, just reiterating the fact that this is for us to bring balance. But let's bring it to the studio as we wind down. We'll come to you to wrap up in 30 seconds. Mr. Dixon, if you can do this for us in like 1 minute. You can see a lot of passion coming in, and
I wanted him to even continue.
a lot of passion coming in and all of that. This is what happens when people feel, perhaps him from his point of view feels they are not being protected. So if you were to intervene in this kind of scenario, how should the government approach this?
Well, with speed and momentum, you know, I feel his pain, and when you see people like this speak, they have love for nation. They have love for this country. You understand? Because human lives matter, like I rightly said. For me, the government has started, you know, rolling out instructions, rolling out orders. So what the government should also be doing is that they should look at the enemy within, you know. The insider threat is what is bedeviling our country, Nigeria. And also, at this point, they need to set up a board of inquiry to examine the existence of Boko Haram and the causative factor of Boko Haram. How did they come into existence? We must not let that die. We need to find out how they came about, the founders, and also the terrorism financiers. They need to go after the terrorism financiers. I've been on this studio many times to discuss about the secret trials of these terrorism financiers, and also the list that was sent to the federal government about the terrorism financiers. Where are the names? Name them and shame them. We need to start doing a lot of things, and also look at how they get their finances from, and look out for their commanders. Because all what we are doing, Jeffrey, is that we're just killing the fighters.
Okay.
If you keep on killing the fighters, we will not succeed. We need to go to their their center of gravity, and pull them from the top down, to ensure that we make Nigeria great again. And also, I will use this medium to appreciate our brave officers and men for putting their life on the line to protect this country. Jeffrey, it's not easy for you to put your life on the line to fight for a country. And Nigeria, the only thing this government owes our soldiers and officers is that they must respect them and ensure they don't pardon terrorists who kill our officers and men, because that would be a blatant failure on the part of government.
All right, Reverend, let's come back to as we wind down. And just the way forward. Nobody supports violence, but we saw where you're coming from. But that's what everybody's trying to avoid, an escalation. Now everybody's talking about the escalation. What's the way forward? If you can do it for us in 1 minute, sir.
The way forward is to remove Shetima, remove Reprisal. He's the security advisor. What else is he advising? All his advice is to serve the Muslim perspective. If not, if he's genuine, let me tell you, all these Christ of God, he has not been advancing well. His advance is bias. And Shetima is a Muslim. The president is the Muslim. Is that not complete genocide to Christian in the political world? A complete genocide. The way forward, remove Shetima. And I stand on it, a one way forward. They are displaying Islamic agenda. They want to control the whole country. All Christians should wake up. Wake up from their slumber, save the Bible. Because these people are out to take over to the court. They will end up forcing every Christian to become a Muslim by faith, by force. We ought to stand on it. We have seen it. I've seen it. God has shown us. Can't you see the handwork that is moving towards Kwara? Can't you see what is happening?
Right.
The Kwara people kill their cow or do something, and they will turn it around to say it is reprisal. So reprisal has been approved in Nigeria. Then we are ready for reprisal. I've said we are not going to stay like this, because I can't hand over my grandchildren to Islam. Because when suffering starvation hurt them, they will go into slavery in Islam. And this is the agenda of all Islamic terrorists to take over the nation. And the nation is sleeping. Is sleeping. They have to wake up. These people that want to help the nation, they don't want to use them, but people are out with agenda to destroy Nigeria, both economically, both physically, both security-wise. They are there, calculating with the language of jihad.
Well, quite powful
This
words.
is why I'm praying the way forward.
Right.
These two people must be removed and bring Nigeria. Let it be Muslim, Christian. Nigeria is for all of us. Let it be Muslim, Christian, Christian, Muslim. We are all brothers. We are all one in the nation. You
Indeed,
can't
Reverend.
bring Islamic agenda to control the nation. That Muslim ticket should be, I will never vote Muslim, Christian. Muslim, Christian. I want Nigeria. We should be one. That is my target. And I'm praying that they will stand and look at this thing with the common sense that Nigeria belongs to all of us, not particular people bringing evil agenda, satanic agenda to control the nation. And the nation is decaying. The moral standard is decaying.
Well, Reverend Dama,
Muslims are also killed.
certainly,
Christians are also killed. And they are proud to tell the world that
if I may
Muslims
comment
and
here,
Christians are killed. Now, question is the witness of the government. They cannot stop the killing, and they are telling that yes, Muslims are also killed. By who?
Well, Reverend Dama, if I may comment here, this is a conversation we can have for the whole day, really. It's a very important one. In fact, we had to overshoot our time and again, just to accommodate this conversation. And yes, indeed, this has been a challenge for this government. You cannot sacrifice unity on the altar of political expediency. But the government, I must say, has said time and again that it is against whatever is happening. It is not supporting any sort of genocide. That has been the messaging from government. But you make very important points. And I must say again that this is for the balance. We've had the representation from the Islamic leaders also on the program. And it's important to hear all of these sides. And that's why we've had you come on the program today. We have to thank you so much. This is by no means the end of the conversation. We've been speaking with Reverend Ezekiel Dachoma of Church of Christ in Nations. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll be speaking to you from time to time to get updates on the security situation there. And right here in our studio, we've had Mr. Dixon Osaje, Global Security Analyst, and MD Debris Protection Services. Mr. Osaje, a powerful conversation.
Thank you for having me, and we need to keep on having this conversation so that we'll make our country great again, because we need to stop these killings once and for all.
Indeed.
Let's not de-escalate. We must stop the killings.
Indeed. We'll take a moment now, and when we return, still lots of issues to unpack for you right here on the show. So stay with us. We'll be right back.